Just doing a little sharing right now. Hi, Tanya. How are you doing? It has been a minute since I've seen you. All right. How are you? Just burning a little sage because I need it. Anybody else feeling that? Just settling in my energy too. Right as I was getting ready to come live, I just got slammed with this just giant wave of energy. And it was the kind that like you just need to sit down and like take it. It came out of nowhere. My hands got all shaky, like it almost felt like I went on a sugar crash or an energy crash. But I know that wasn't it. And my left ear started, and my right ear this time got very high-pitched, ringing. I know we might be having a CME from the sun, a coronal mass ejection that's supposed to be passing by. So maybe that was it. I don't have it confirmed yet. Yes, the Schumann resonance is definitely, it does go through like a, its own like leaps when we have just this time of year with lightning. So that will amp it up as well. So there is a little bit of normal in that, but yeah, the sun thing. I usually keep an eye on the sun to see what's going on, because it helps me navigate moments like this where I'm like, whoa, what was that? Okay, it's not just me. I'm not just like this crazy sensitive person. This could be a CME, and I'm just that sensitive and feeling it. And my kids too. Yes. Am I drinking enough water? Probably not enough today, just because I literally got back from swimming with the kids, so that's right there. But yeah, like I've been hearing that in my mind a lot too, is water. Water, choosing water over like sugar. I'm trying that one out. So thank you for tuning in and jumping on, and let me know how you're doing. Tanya, like I said, it's been a minute since we connected and said hi. If you're new and watching and don't know me, my name is Chrissy Whistler, and I am an intuitive, an astrologer, healer, and I'm also a parent of 2 multi-dimensional magical kids. And in this video, I really wanted to kind of share with you what's up with the astrology right now. We have our new moon in Gemini tomorrow, depending on where you live in the world. And then also into like June, what you can expect for that as well. Oh, thank you so much for that. It is really lovely to be with you too. Especially, you know, it's a holiday weekend, so I was like, oh, okay, be a little quiet, which is totally fine, but this is timely and I kind of need to get this out to you, to all of you. The kids and I just got back from camping in Sequoia in Kings Canyon, and that was a very just healing experience. I did a lot of earth keeping that I wasn't expecting to do, so that was fun to be guided there. So now I'm just settling back into this moment, back into the city, and what in the heck is going on in the astrology world? So I'm glad you're tuning into that. Thank you. I'm very excited to be following this and helping people navigate, because it's so much easier when you have an idea of what's coming to just move through it. It doesn't necessarily lessen the challenge, but we might have a smidgen more grace and ease if we have that awareness. So if you haven't seen my previous videos that I did on YouTube, it's at Chrissy Whistler on YouTube, and that's actually where you're going to find some more information about the eclipse cycle that we just completed. Thanks for tuning in, Rosie. I'm actually not doing any card readings in this one. I'm going to be talking about the astrology and the energy that we can possibly expect for this couple weeks, and then some of this too will be the theme even for the rest of the year. So I hope that can help guide you in that way. So if you didn't know, eclipse season was really big. We're having a lot. It was introducing this new theme, this change up about global economic, agriculture, money, finances, like all of that is really on the menu right now. Yes, Tanya, thank you. Yes, I started my YouTube channel and I've got all this content that's coming out. And if you do want to have a collective card reading, check out my YouTube channel, because that's where I'm doing more of that offering, including a nature channeling series where I go into nature and I have these healing experiences. I do card readings from the land itself, as well as just channeling the messages and the sounds that are coming through to me. So you can find all of that goodness there, as well as, of course, as a parent, like, how do you support sensitive kids at this time? Whew. So yes, you're also, again, seeing me like I just got hit with this big, massive wave of energy, and I'm breathing through it. Breathing through it and trying just to be present and have even good energy with you right now, as opposed to just laying down and, like Tanya said, drinking lots of water. So I do have notes, so you'll be seeing me looking off the screen a little bit, just so I get everything out that I really want to share with you. Because June is a big month. There's a lot of energy at play right now, including Uranus energy, and it's I'll throw some astrology terms at you, but don't feel like you're overwhelmed with them. Just like that, soak that into the back of your mind. So Uranus right now is big on the menu. It's currently conjunct the North Node, which is in Taurus. And so we might see a lot of shocks and surprises, earthquakes, volcanoes, like the real kinds. And it also can be like metaphorical. It can be political. It can be currency, all that, because it's in that Taurus energy. Taurus is the earth, agriculture, finances, money, resources. That's all the Taurus energy. So we might see some really big shocks and changes in that area, like kind of coming out of nowhere. Lightning bolt. That's the energy of Uranus. It's this if you know the tarot, it's like the Tower card. Lightning bolt out of nowhere, like crumbling of the tower, so you can make way for the new. That is the energy that we are in. We're going to be in that particular energy for the next year as the North Node goes through Taurus. But with Uranus and Taurus, this is actually going to continue for the next few years. But right now, it's definitely very up. And it was just introduced on this eclipse cycle that just happened last month. But Uranus is also truth and clarity. It's the higher mind connecting us, right, from on high into our present, into the bodies. So there can be a lot of downloads. I just mentioned having that wave of energy come out of nowhere and getting the ringing in my ear. Like, you might be experiencing that where you're totally fine, your energy is great, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, what was that? Where did this come from? I was fine and then I wasn't. You might feel some of that, like almost these quick awakenings. These can also be linked to the new moon, which is tomorrow. And again, why I'm getting this out there, even though I got hit with that energy. So, like, how do you move through those energies? That's kind of that's kind of tough. It's really being present, being in your body, connecting to the earth can help you. Drinking lots of water is amazing too. Salt baths can help if you feel caught up in all that, or you're worrying about the future, because Uranus is bringing in the shocking new surprises of what we're building in our future. Be present. Be present, be in tune with your senses, your body. That helps get you out of that future worry and uncertainty mindset and brings you back here. And when you're back in your body, you'll have an easier time connecting with that on high energy into you. If you're a parent and you have very sensitive kids, you might see this reflected in them as well if they're so sensitive and all this is happening in the world. And again, I'll get even more into this because we also have currently Saturn square the nodes. So this really is a big thing. So if they are that sensitive and they may not have the words to explain what they're feeling, and again, getting them into nature, getting them to move their bodies. And in fact, I would recommend that for you too, is just move your bodies. You can do yoga, you can go swimming, go running, or even just do just those different trauma exercises to just move your body and like shake off your body. It's a really good one. You may notice your kids just like shaking like crazy or running around like a vortex of energy. This is one way that they could be dispelling that energy and getting it to move out of their body. So kind of be aware of what's up with that. Definitely listen to them. Pay attention, not just to their words, but again, how they're reacting. Because language is just this tiny little bit of communication, and we communicate in so many other ways. We also have Mercury, currently retrograde right now. Most people know Mercury as the things go wrong with technology when Mercury is retrograde is kind of what it's known for. But Mercury is actually Mercury retrograde is a great time to reflect. It's a very introverted energy, and this has to do with our words, our thinking, how we might be communicating. And so Mercury retrograde, it's actually going to be stationing direct on June 3rd on the north node of Taurus. Okay, so what does all that mean? Again, downloads, sudden insights, new ideas, because ideas, that's very much a Mercury way of thinking. New ways of thinking can be coming in through this reflective time that you might have had, and now they're kind of like ready to go. So there's clarity with this new way of thinking, a new clarity with how you want to communicate even. And it's going to be for the benefit of our future collective destiny, because that is what the North Node is. North Node in Taurus, that means that we are all going in that Taurus direction for this next year. This is pulling ourselves out of the drama, the intensity, the manipulation, claustrophobia of Scorpio, and we're going into Taurus, slowness, simplicity. What's tasty in your life, what you enjoy, all that is Taurus. It's a slowness, going at your own pace. So you might be having new ideas and sudden insights of how you can do that in your life. And of course, when you do that on a personal level, that's how it ripples out to the collective as well. It always has to start with us, and then we can start almost marrying and modeling that for everybody around us. But that is our collective destiny, and it's very much highlighted with this Mercury stationing right there. Uranus and the North Node together in Taurus. And again, it's also this, what is our relationship to the earth going to be going forward? Our relationship to nature, to food, to agriculture, to values. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. This is also about values. What is it that you value? And are there new ways of communicating that and thinking about that, shifting your thinking to something that actually reflects what you love, and not just what you've been conditioned and taught and expected to have and embody in this current world that we're in. So retrogrades in general, always very revolutionary, progressive kinds of periods, are very Uranian, so that's very much like going into the future. And then, yeah, you definitely want to be mindful of what's happening in our media right now. Lies, illusions, delusion. What this retrograde Mercury is asking us is, how do we know what's true? How do we find out what's true? So it's coming from the inside out kind of truth. Not just like swallowing or like accepting and believing what's given to us, but having the truth and the belief come from within us, in our own intuition, in our own discernment. That's another Mercury, our own inner discernment. And then how can we reflect that back out into the world? How are we connecting with people, networking, information exchange? That's all Mercury retrograde changes on this horizon. And how can we do it better? How can we move into a better future, this new earth energy? You know, and how can we do that too when we are in a world that is fully changing right now, fully restructuring this this crumbling of the old that's not working, the old systems and structures, and what are the new networks that we can set down and create for this new. I apologize. I also clear energy now through burping, and instead of just being that quiet female, it's just gonna, you know, polite manners and all that. Nope, it's just gonna come out. So I always like to give that caveat. Hello, Dana. It's good to see you. So right now we've got Pluto is also in retrograde, the last degrees of Capricorn. So that's really about digging up the muck of all the old system and structures that aren't actually working, that aren't actually supportive. So it's a real time of transformation, moving from this death to this rebirth process, that phoenix rising from the ashes, like we're in the ashes phase. And what can be the new phase that's being birthed from this? And that will really come from each of us and what we are each here and willing and wanting to create, going into the muck to find the diamonds on the other side of it. And I also want to say too is, and I'm going to try to say it delicately as possible, is also too about new changes to our educational systems. And again, I'm just being delicate just because of the tragedy that we had, gosh, just a few days ago in Texas. And it's like, what isn't working within our education systems, and what isn't working, how we respond to people who need mental health support or economic support so they can have that emotional stable home. So that's it's one of these, I'm so sorry, I'm totally getting chills and goosebumps just even talking about it and bringing light, but it's like, this isn't working, and this tragedy happened again. So what is it gonna take for people to really wake up? For people to be willing to, again, scrape that bottom of the barrel, to shine a light at these dark places that we don't want to look at, and it doesn't matter because they are still there. We each have our own shadows, we each have our own darkness, and what's happening in society, it's mirroring what we feel on the inside. So it's time to look at this stuff. It's time to build new structures, new ways of doing things that are actually supportive. And just these, again, this astrology energy, it's not gonna let up. It's very, we also have Saturn, I said, square the nodes right now. Like, we're being pushed into these changes, into these awakenings. Like, this is the moment of time we're in. And it's like, okay, collective, how much do we need to go through for people to say, okay, yes, let's make these changes, to take back our sovereignty, which is also Taurus, our sovereignty, our freedom, our power, take that back and build something new with that. So again, it's like, this is the theme that we are in. This is these energies. And what can we each do individually to make those changes happen? One thing you can do is start tuning back into your intuition, tuning into your gut, not tuning into the fear of your mind, okay? But like what feels right, what feels good, what feels tasty. Where is your inner spark and your joy and your passion? That's the thing that's time to tune back into. And the more we can tune into our intuition, into what feels right, what feels in alignment, which feels like that hell yes kind of energy, that's really going to be supportive for us to get that clarity and that new future that we are building at this time and going into. So start by asking questions. That's a big Mercury theme. Ask questions, think, is there a better way? Because clearly this way that we're doing things isn't working. So what else can we try instead? What else can I do instead? Walk off the traditional path and brave your way into the wilderness. Even if that means at times you're going to be walking alone, walking through the desert, discovering who you are, what you want, what you value, like what you're creating and bringing into. Like, this is the time. That's the Uranus energy that's really coming in, is to build it, to make it new. So let's see, Tanya, when you say take that freedom back, can you give an example of what that could look like? I can give you, like, okay, here's 2 examples that just came to my mind. So right now we have the Russia-Ukraine war that's happening. I don't watch the media. It's not a good place for my energy. I get sucked right down into it. But from what I've heard and just kind of sensed around me, there is this push of going to war. And you can choose to get sucked into that fear, or you can say in your own sovereignty, no, I do not agree to that. I do not consent to that. Now, this is just completely energetic, right? Like, or it might not be. Like, you could actually be calling up your senators and congressmen, the Capitol switch line, and really voicing how you feel. So that, like, is an action that you could absolutely do. Again, this is really, you're standing in your sovereignty and you're like, no, I don't agree to this. I don't consent to this. Or you can do that in your own energy field. You can meditate, you can pray, you can just hold that frequency of no, I do not agree. Or like Lynn McTaggart, she'd had a whole bunch of meditation prayer times that she did globally. And so you can join that kind of thing. And that's what I mean about sovereignty and taking your power back, your freedom. I'm not going to get sucked into that story. I don't agree with it. So I'm going to stand here because we are so much more powerful than we have ever been led to believe. And so you making just that simple choice and just really just being like, no. That is a huge ripple effect, and is something that you can do to really align to that sovereignty. And the other choice that like I made personally in my life, which is as a parent, is like the educational systems. I made this decision when Kate was only 2. And that was before I knew that she was unique and had her own special abilities within language challenges. But I made that choice to just be like, no, not only am I going to homeschool, I'm going to be doing self-directed learning because I don't agree with the educational systems. I don't like it. I went through it myself and it was awful and it wasn't supportive. So again, like that's that being in my sovereignty and my power and like taking action. So I hope those 2 examples kind of give you a little bit of ideas of what I mean by that. But yes, just we are so much more powerful than they want us to believe, especially when it comes to the intuition. Like, yeah, our intuition. And just a quick point, I had messaged a friend right after I had that wave of energy crash into me, and I was like, oh my God, did you just feel this? And she replied back, yes, LOL. So I'm not the only one who felt that. And it always makes me feel so much better to know that other sensitives are in it too. It really helps to know that you're not alone. Yeah, so again, and we have this Mercury stationing retrograde on the 3rd. So it's really going to be highlighting this new moon energy as well. We're going to be getting some clarity and understanding about who I am, what fills me up, brings me joy, feeling a sense of stability. That's all that Taurus energy. Okay, good, Tanya. You understand. Yeah, you don't watch the news or, yeah, mainstream news. Yeah, direct awareness to the naughty camp everyone wants to look at. And then it's like, okay, what's the agenda? And what's their agenda and what's being shared? And I don't know about you, but I don't have any energy and time to go chase that stuff down. I'm too busy with what I'm doing here. The healing that I'm offering, especially now when I go into nature, it's with so much more intention. It's like, no, this is where my focus needs to be, and not in that world, not playing that game, and not being distracted. That's a really good point, is not being distracted from your purpose and what you're being called to do. And I just feel like being called to be in your sovereignty and in your power, and they don't want us to have our power, because then we're not so easily controllable. Yep. Yeah, it's and I think it's gonna get more intense before it gets better. Certainly in regards to that control. I don't cover so much of like the global piece of astrology, because I feel like Pam Gregory does that so well. But if you want a much better, like, let's look at this from a world view, how this astrology could be playing out, like, I highly recommend watching her. And she has her YouTube channel as well. I watch her and study and learn from her all the time, but that's what she really focuses on. And I just want to say too, and I think what I'm going to be doing is pulling out like this parent bits as well and putting those in a separate video, so it's a little easier for parents to follow rather than the long video forecast that I do here. But just in general, for this Mercury stationing direct that's happening, parents, really pay attention to your kids. Let them guide you, especially with their interest, direct you into who they are, what helps them feel safe and secure, what are their needs and their tastes, their values. Like, that's going to be really up for them. And especially if they're young, they're not going to be able to tell you this with words. So tune into your intuition and give it a listen of what they're telling you. And you could even possibly help guide them if they're not sure, almost like giving them options, and or even just slowing down. They could be really beneficial. Okay, I'm just getting a message right now. I wasn't expecting that. So it would be really beneficial to slow down. I'm sorry. The energy with that tragedy in Texas with those kids, it's obviously very much in the collective right now. Slow down with your kids especially if they are in school and they're in that, I'm even hearing the word claustrophobic environment, if that can be. Slow down. Maybe get them out into nature. Be with them to process what has happened. And even if they are not aware, if they're sensitive, they very well might be feeling this. So sit with them, help guide them, be a safe space, be a safe, stable place for them to feel whatever it is that is coming up for them right now. This is a very important time for us to listen to our children. That is a message for the collective, our society and world. We need to listen to our children. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I probably should with my work with children. That was really intense. Yeah, I'm getting a lot coming in through my crown chakra too. Wow. That's right. Our work is very much to raise that frequency. And I love that, Tanya, because it's going to be in all the ways that our soul knows best. Our unique, beautiful gifts and talents. And to tune into that. And to go where that is leading you. And you can't go wrong. And that's how we're going to, when you tune into your soul, I can see there's that main path. By tuning into your soul, you are going into the wilderness. You are going to be going into the desert. And that's actually where you're going to find the new earth. You're going to find the people of like-minded frequencies, the people that are going to help to build this new earth. That's right. That's exactly what do we have control over? What do we have control over with our energy and our focus and our attention? And where is our intentions going? Yeah, let the naughty camp have their way. We're just no, not doing it. Not participating in it. Thank you. My intention is to really be a lighthouse, someone to link arms with other parents, so we can do this new everything for our children. What education should look like, what our relationship with kids should be. These kids coming in, they're powerhouse souls, and they're not going to be giving us a lot of choices. I mean, mine certainly didn't. Eric definitely really didn't. I mean, I had a choice. But it really wasn't a choice, because it was just so clear. And I know there are many children who are just making it that clear of I'm just not in this 3D realm in the way you guys are doing things. I'm over here, and you need to meet me here, because I'm not changing. But it's very beautiful. It's very hopeful. These children bring me so much hope, because they are such powerhouses. And that's just a really great question too, is for not only these particular children, I've been doing a lot of, when I was in the Sequoias, oh my gosh, the children were coming in so strongly, and like every single message I did, the children were there. And of course, like I didn't even realize what had happened in Texas at the time. Like I had no internet really, so I wasn't aware, but wow, they're making themselves known. And the question that we, all of us, not just parents, but adults need to ask is, what is it that our kids need to thrive? We're not just surviving, okay? We're moving out of this Capricorn focused world, and we're starting to move into that emotional direction and safe spaces of Cancer. And that's what Pluto's doing there in the last degrees of Capricorn, just get into the bottom, the barrel of all that crud that is not working. So we're moving out of survival and we're moving into thriving. What is it that our kids need to thrive? And that's going to really lead us into those new ways of what we're building on this earth. What do they actually need? Not just what we think. It's like, no. Actually get in connection and communion with them. What do you need? What do you need? What is your unique pace that is equally true for us who are adults? That's that North Node in Taurus, okay? What is it that you need for your pace and your way of living in life? Do you need open roads? Do you need the country and open pastures? Or do you like when things are a little bit more intense? which is fine too. Some souls, they're really here to experience intensity and intimacy and going into the depths. So it's, what is our own unique pace, and how can we make space for that? What do we need to feel safe and secure around us? And like I said, we of course we can't give this to our kids if we haven't first given it to ourselves. So we really need to ask ourselves that question. And, as I said, Mercury stationing direct on the North Node means Mercury's also square to Saturn. So this is really, we got to create it. We have to do, Saturn wants us to do this work. All right, this isn't just going to drop down into our laps. We need to get our hands a little bit dirty and to make it happen. Build it so it can last for a really long time. That's that energy of Saturn. And speaking of Saturn, Saturn will be stationing retrograde on June 4th. So right as Mercury goes direct, Saturn is retrograding. And that's happening at 25 degrees of Aquarius. So what does that mean? For this one, I would highly recommend you taking a look at your birth chart to see where that 25 degrees is. And in fact, look at 20 to 29 degrees. That's the orb of influence, okay? Look at where that falls in your chart to see how this energy might be affecting you personally. Also, take a look at the other fixed signs to see if you have any planets around that 20 to 29 degrees. That's going to be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Planets in those degrees, they're going to be experiencing some of this incoming Saturnarian energy, and it could be a challenge or an obstacle. Saturn being Saturn doesn't make these things easy. I'm laughing, but I've had some really hard Saturn moments. I'm actually in a Saturn moment myself right now, so it's pretty heavy. Oh yeah, you do? Your Saturn is in Gemini? Yeah, take a look at that. You can feel something is up. I love when you're getting the intuition, especially because astrology gives you a lens from which to work through, to at least like a heads up of what's coming. Like I know Sean's got like 3 different major planets in those fixed signs, and like one of them is the South Node in Aquarius. So I'm just like, okay, what do I need to expect so I can hold some better space from him and how he might be reacting? And that's kind of how I'll use birth charts for my kids or for my husband is what do I need to know so I can show up a little bit better for them and hold the space, whatever it is that they need. All right, so Saturn, like what is this energy even about? This is going to be retrograde, will be about a fundamental change of structure and systems. That's structure, systems, culture, traditions. That's Saturn. Retrograde is that Uranian energy. So this is revolutionary, more progressive. Saturn is also about orientation to society, authority, expectations, and obligations. So yeah, look at your chart and kind of see where this is going to be coming up for you, because this is a revolutionary opportunity, especially with Saturn in Aquarius. So this is going to be those conditioned behaviors, these expectations and obligations, what a good boy or girl is supposed to do, to be, to look like. That's that early conditioning of Saturn. Almost like negative reinforcements as well, maybe from your parents, society, school systems. So now it's a real opportunity to break down those original conditions and wounds, the behaviors that were limiting for you and unnatural. Oh, your North Node is in Aquarius. That could be some good intense energy. It kind of depends if it's in early Aquarius or later Aquarius. But yeah, like a real push to go forward into that North Node. Yeah. If you're feeling it, yeah, you're feeling Saturn. I can pick it up from here. And hopefully too, like this Mercury stationing direct is going to help a bit with that, because Mercury wants us to form new relationships with our body and the world resources, so we can be more nourished. So this could even be conditioning coming up around the body itself, body image, how we feel in our body, how we feel about food. Yeah. But it's going to be about change. That square to Saturn means this is about change, having some kind of obstacle or challenge to force us to go into the change. It's really about challenging those norms and those conditions. And as I said, as we were speaking earlier, like this is about changing our infrastructure, our society and systems, jobs, careers. It's all changing. That energy is with us for a minute. It's with us. I mean, that's what we've been going through really since 2020 is when this energy first was introduced, and we're still in it. We're still here to create this new Earth. North Node of Taurus conjunct Uranus. It's all about creating new future of new Earth. And I also say too that this Saturn energy, it's not about relying on outside forces. We talked about that sovereignty. Inner sovereignty is where we're headed. Like this is us having the authority, the capability to be able to make those changes for ourselves. Like this energy of we don't need our parents to come in and save us or fix things, or we don't need the government to come in and fix things to supply that humanitarian aid. It's we have that ability within ourselves to do those new networking, to make those changes. Sorry about that coming up. This is a time of recognizing your gifts, your skills, your capabilities. Those places where you are already rich, where you are already abundant. And how can you use that to participate in this new community, this new world that we're building? What are the gifts that you're bringing in, that you're bringing to the table? And it's about Saturn, so we have to apply a conscious effort. We have to be conscious and we have to put in the work. And how can we do this? Bring in these changes that are actually supportive for you, for your community. That's Aquarius. Being like this, that humanitarian, that's also Aquarius. This, like I said, this is the time to get our hands dirty, to build and to create. So if you've got a dream on your soul, a project that you wanted to do, even like an art piece or this thing that you have, this burning desire to do, but maybe it was too different or it was too weird, or you didn't feel confident enough or strong enough, like now is the time to do it. Go do that thing that's different. Go do that project that's on your soul and calling you. You probably won't have all the pieces in place of point A to point Z. Because as much as our human brains like that, that's not actually how the universe and the world is working. And it's definitely not going to work that way now when everything is changing. So really it's about taking that next first step, the next right step off the main path and going on your path. Going and walking through that desert on your own and exploring it. That is really the energy. And like, yeah, this push to do this is going to be with us for the rest of this year. Saturn is going to be square those nodes for the rest of this year. So this isn't going away. But it is very highlighted right now with Mercury stationing direct and then Saturn going retrograde right next to each other right after this new moon tomorrow. So it's up. And then let's see here. And then, yeah, we've also got mid-June, Venus will be on the North Node, and that will be June 11th to the 16th. And that's going to be another beautiful, beautiful conjunction. Really grounding us into our earth, what we love and what we cherish, what feels good, make it real. That's all Taurus. So, like, it's time to learn, to know in who we are, and how to anchor it into reality, okay? We're not just dreaming these things, we're actually putting it on this earth. We're making it into form, creating these new systems, these new structures. That's Saturn, to build these new communities, Saturn in Aquarius. So during that time, really tune into your body. And as you do that, really ask, how is this leading me back to who I was born to be? My values, and how do you pave a way into that new direction? So again, there's this theme of go your way. Go follow your calling on your soul and what you love. Go do that. Don't go do what you've been expected and what you've been told your whole life. You go to school and then you go to college and then you get a job and you stay at that job until you retire. Like, you know, all that. Just throw that out the window and go do you. Go do what you love. And I'll say too as well, like there is a need for us to take responsibility for our own part. So we're not bypassing things right now, or other people, or manipulation. That's the south node of Scorpio. So we don't want to bypass that. And we want to take responsibility for what's ours. So you might also feel during that Venus conjunction mid-June, you might feel an echo of the eclipses that we just had, that eclipse cycle. So use that as an opportunity to shine a light on what's being revealed to you, even if it's coming in through your instincts. So it's not, you're not super conscious of it, because Scorpio is all about unconscious. So when you feel things, or when you have really hard reactions or triggers to something, let that be your clue in that there's something here that needs to be seen and looked at. And doing that is how we are able to heal. Because if it remains unconscious, then we can't heal it. We can't get to the root of the problem. We can't get to that bottom of the barrel. So we can transform it into something way better, into gifts. So we can authentically be ourselves. Right. We also, this particular energy is going to be continuing for also the rest of this year and until May of 2023, is we have Jupiter in Aries, and Mars has just entered Aries as well. So, okay, what does any of that mean? So it means that this is a time for new beginnings, for exploring Jupiter, this new direction, which is Mars. So there's a lot of energy to make that happen. Very fiery, very passionate, fresh and new. That's Mars, that's Aries. Very instinctual, very in the body. Desires, definitely up on the menu. So yeah, this is going to be an exploration of that, of individuality, of our independence, our autonomy, desires, freedom, that we're going to be exploring that. And we're going to be all as a collective looking at that. Mars and Jupiter today, in fact, because today is the 29th, I swear, I'm just not in time anymore. So today we have Jupiter is conjunct Mars in Aries. So we can be getting, I wonder too if that's one of the reasons I felt that energy wave that just came in. You see, like they all kind of start interconnecting together. But this is like a moment of real tremendous conviction and focus. And we're going to be really seeing and setting these new Aries directions. So whatever Jupiter's sign it's in, it's going to be expanding that sign. And so we're going to really be putting our attention on exploring and discovering everything that's Aries. So it's going to be a time of self-discovery, discovering our unique individual self, our needs for a necessary open road and freedom so we can discover ourselves. What excites us, what brings us pleasure, what we desire, what we're passionate about. Some more energy, momentum, charge. So that's that, expanding this energy until May 2023. Oh, you felt excited when you heard Jupiter and Aries? Oh, your moon is there? I know, isn't that really cool? It's like, oh wait, this is today. See, I told you I had to get this video out today for a reason. All right, so yeah, Tanya, you might, yeah, please pull up your chart and see when these transits are hitting you, because you've got some big ones happening. And so you might really feel that, you will feel an expansion when Jupiter goes over your moon for sure. You're gonna feel that. That'll bring a lot of, it's gonna be bringing like a lot of this new energy, this new excitement. That's the higher octave of Mars and Aries. Lower octave is that fiery warrior energy, angry emotions, like that's the lower octave. But the higher one, when Aries is in balance with the other, which is Libra, so being caring about others, it's going to be really really helpful for all of us. So even though we have this this Jupiter going through Aries, and we're doing this self-exploration, it's really good to be mindful of the other person. You don't want to just go and do things because like it's in your right. So there's like almost like a common courtesy of the other that is being asked of us as well. Your sun is in Libra. There's an opposition. I mean, they may not be, but Tanya, you should really look at your chart. Oh, I think that would be so much fun. Yeah. No wonder why you're excited. No wonder why you're excited. So yeah, like what does any of this mean for us as individuals? I think it's kind of, you know, it is an excitement. Again, if you have that project on your soul, like now is the time to go do it. Go start this new thing. And Spirit is also reminding me, tune back into your life at the end of 2010 and early 2011, okay? Because that's when Jupiter went into Aries, and then came back into Aries after a short retrograde. So this is a 12-year cycle, so you may have an echo of something that happened at that time 12 years ago. So it can be coming up again for you to go and explore it even deeper. And I'm just going to say quickly here, parents, be very mindful of this energy. You might find yourself with a little hothead on your hands, or someone who's really, really kind of being rebellious in the way that they want their freedom, and be mindful about giving it to them. And of course, in a way it's safe, but don't be overly safe about it, right? Like common sense. But give them their freedom, give them that opportunity to do their own self-exploration, to do their own desires. If you got teens, just be aware of what's coming. And it's in the air, it's in the astrology, in the energy. And how can you best support them in a way that provides that safe space, in a way that can hold that container for them to do that freedom and that exploration, like you providing a solid space for them so they can like land and jump out from. So now's not the time to really constrict and hold on tight. Try to find another way of being in balance with that energy with them. And of course that will look different for each of you, but just to be aware, like this is up. And how can we best meet all the children in our life in this energy, in this way? And it's they swear these kids are so funny, because I just, again, like I heard that like nudge about what's happening in with Texas and these changes in these kids of like, I am fed up with you adults not doing your job, right? The government's not coming in to fix it. Like I mentioned earlier, parents aren't fixing it. Government's not gonna fix, like we have to do it. Don't be surprised if you really see this surge of energy coming up from our kids of like, I've had enough. Yeah. I'm getting a trip of how clear that they're coming in right now. Like, wow. So yeah, like again, look at your birth chart and see how this is going to be magnifying that area, that house area for you, for this next year, and what's really being highlighted and expanded, because that is Jupiter. What do you have a burning desire for, a passion for? Go explore it. Like that is your homework. Go do what excites you and what you desire. Go do that. Yeah, right now it's going to be a really big time for autonomy, a need for freedom, independence. That's that energy that we can expect with Jupiter and Aries. So how can we give it to ourselves? How can we give it to our friends and family, our partners, in a way that is in balance? It's not just giving only to the individual, but like, again, there's a balance between self and other. And how do we do that? That kind of feels like it'll be a trial and error process for some of us. It's new. And we also have oh my gosh. Hey Tanya, you should definitely look at your chart, because Chiron is also transiting Aries right now, if you didn't know that. I'm just hearing these little nudges of like, yeah, you gotta go look at this. I don't actually have a set time of when I'm doing these right now. Just Sunday, I would say Sunday actually works fairly well for me for the most part, unless of course I'm in the woods. But Sean's got the kids and I don't have to worry about him being at work, so that's always really helpful. Yeah, so yeah, does this time work for you? And I'm really, really excited to hear that too, that it's on point. It's great. I'm just laughing because it's just funny to me, because the way astrology speaks to me now, I'm hearing like spirit guides even clearer in this way of like, oh yeah, this Chiron's a big deal for you too. So Chiron is in Aries, conjunct your moon. All right, so yeah, I swear your guides are kind of funny, because they're like, this message is for you. All right, so I will probably go a little bit more in, we'll see. We're going to be going to Yellowstone mid-June, so I'm not quite sure what my next June update for astrology will be like. If I'll be able to do one, and I'm just going to kind of let that flow instead of controlling it. I think they are. Our guides and these children are being very, very clear right now. Oh my goodness. And I think yours just told me to drink some more water. All right, so as Jupiter approaches Chiron, we'll probably start feeling this really when there's this 10-degree orb of them being in conjunction, which is going to be like the summertime, all right? So there can be a lot of healing taking place at that time. Big healing of the warrior, the masculine energy, gender stigmas, self-empowerment. Kind of got chills on that one. Self-empowerment, is that a thing for you, Tanya? Where have our desires been repressed and like gotten weird and distorted, you know, because of trauma and stuffing it down? Depression and oppression can be part of that. So really coming into a healing time of that. I remember that. As soon as I said that, I'm like, you're my water reminder person. So, big healing. Chiron transits aren't easy because Chiron, it takes us into the soul wounds that we have. So, in a Chiron transit kind of way, thank you. It's not necessarily going to be smooth, easy going through this. So be aware of where this repression of the desires can be coming up in your life, because it's a really big opportunity to heal them. With Jupiter coming through there, it's going to be expanding that Chiron. So expanding these areas where we have been wounded. We can be seeing a lot with the wounded masculine coming up into the surface for us to see and to hold space for. You know, like how to be that aligned warrior, a sacred warrior, not just the guy that wants to go in, guy or gal, wants to go in and just do the fighting. So it's like a new, or I should say even an old way of holding that warrior energy and that warrior space. So just be aware that that can be coming up in yourself, in others, the collective. So really be mindful of your sovereignty and where your attention is going. Be aware if it's something you usually shove under the rug. You don't want to do that. This is a really great opportunity to pull it out from under the rug and just say, like, I see you, and let's go into this thing and see where that healing takes us, even if it's not easy. It's really a time to get up close and personal. It's not a time to stay at a distance and assume even judgment about it, you know, good, bad, or why it's happening. No, just go sit with it. And we're going to be feeling that energy rising up. So again, just be aware. And I'll say as well for parents, be willing to walk alongside your kids if this is coming up for them. And it's hard for them. Like, be willing to sit down beside them in what is uncomfortable and in what is hard, just to be there. Like, do the hard thing and be in that uncomfortable space with them. Be that container so they can safely explore it. They can safely go into it. That's what Aries, a balanced Aries, looks like. Discernment is going to be big. What is the next right step? Where's our energy and resources focusing on? And again, it's a big time to do the thing that lights you up. Do what brings you joy and that spark of fire. What is it for you? What is it for your kids? Can you give them the space and the freedom, those open roads, so they can explore it? So that means don't have them non-stop days packed with things to do. Like, you gotta give them the space, the openness to go explore and to go do the thing that lights them up. And that's just an observation of how our world generally does. Parenting and the school structures and after school activities and all that. And that's actually another really good point that I'm going to tie in, is these eclipse season energies. As the world really crumbles and things change, tune into your desires, tune into your passions to help you move through those energies and not get caught up in the fear. It's going to really help bring you back present. Learning how to speak my truth of what my views are about what's happening in reality that doesn't fit with normal. Leaning into the Aries more and more, not always just playing Libra nice. Yeah. I want to help people wake up from their slumber, but doing it in the right way. That's absolutely right. That's right. Being in that spectrum of Libra and being that trailblazer is the right word of Aries. Yeah. So I'm just tuning back into what you were saying earlier. You've got your, I think you said your North Node is in Aquarius. So your South Node is in Leo. Yeah. So yeah, doing it differently. How can you walk that road, walk that balance, and doing it in a way that is uniquely yours? Experimenting. They just popped into my mind. Experimenting will be really big for you. So just some other helpful hints, to tools. Staying in your passion, right? Stay in the center, your heart space. Yeah, a big part of what you're here to learn to do. Foreign and new and unknown to you, no handbook. That completely makes sense. Completely, again, like with your North Node in Aquarius, it is going to be new and progressive and different. It's probably going to be frightening is what comes to my mind. Of course, I'm not looking at your chart or anything, but doing it in a new way, in a different way. And that is the futures. We don't know what the future is going to bring. Like that is that Aquarius, Uranus, like you're going to be getting also too, like these insights straight down from on high. That is the Uranian energy. And they're telling me too, Tanya, to look to where Uranus is in your chart. That might help as well. To give you some direction on that North Node, that where's your compass pointing north. So look to where Uranus is in your chart. It's really important for all of us not to get caught up in the intensity and the fiery emotions of others, what we're being told and directed, again, by the media, officials. This is really about our inner guidance, our intuition. So that's coming through, again, even in this placement of the astrology. Another way that you can pull out of that intensity and the fears is actually giving back to others. It'll get you out of yourself and your own ego and your own thinking and your own worries. And when you give it back to others, it's gonna really help. And you'll be tuning into that new energy, that new creation. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm happy. So happy to be here with you. This is a time to get our hands dirty, okay? We may not know why we are being called in a particular direction, but move forward anyway. Go explore it. This is the Jupiter in Aries, so this is on the menu for a year. Go carve that path. Follow your instincts, Aries, and go explore. Go forward alone without looking back. That is your compass. That is your green light. That's your excitement, your passions, your desires. Like that's what you follow right now. And then how can you shift your life to honor these energy levels so you can lead and walk into this new life that you desire? What needs to be changed so you can do this? So even if it seems weird or it's challenging the norm or if it's risky, go do it. Because this Aries energy, Mars, it's a risk taker time. It's time to do it. If it feels right and it feels good and it's exciting, go do it. So yeah, go dare open those new directions. Go dare walk into this new reality to carve out this new path for you, new community, new world. This is the time to take that risk. And so as I'm slowly concluding this video, these always seem to be long, but you know, it's what it is. I enjoy being here with you and there's so much to share. So new moon tomorrow is going to be at 9 degrees of Gemini. You can see where that is affecting you, your birth chart. I do offer birth chart readings, so you can go to my website if you would like some support with that. I'm here for you. This new moon is really opening a door into the future. It's taking place on the north node of Uranus. Gemini Mercury, that's the lower mind, our thinking mind. So be really mindful. What are the thoughts tumbling around in my mind this time? What limiting thoughts and beliefs are holding me back? These old ways, these expectations and patterns. This is the perfect new moon to change that, to set a new direction, a new intention. What is the new future of your thoughts going to be? What do you want to create for yourself, those around you? Our thoughts matter. Our thoughts are the pre-generators to what we are manifesting and calling in and creating. So pay attention to your thoughts, especially since we are in this Mercury retrograde still. It is time to revolutionize your thoughts, right? So change them, like change is totally on the menu and it's totally possible. This is also going to be setting the tone for this next lunar cycle. So for this next month, we're setting this new direction with this Gemini. So new ideas, getting glimpses of the future. We might see into the future, in fact. We can get teachings coming to us that are pioneering and ahead of their time. It can revolutionize Uranus, our whole understanding of life and the universe. We could be getting a lot of information coming in at this time. Mercury is actually aspected to every outer planet. So new ways of thinking, could be galactics even. So really focus on what you want to create in the world. We could have again a follow-up from the total lunar eclipse resurfacing for us to see from our unconscious. Mercury is going to be in the exact same position that the sun was in when this happened. So again, you might find yourself walking alone into that future, and that's okay. Because you're stepping out of the traditional and the tried and true, and you're walking your own path. So honor your uniqueness and follow wherever that path leads you. This wandering through the desert can be very helpful in you actually discovering who you are, your unique self and your desires. So sow a seed for what you want to learn and to share with others. So what you want to talk and teach about. So Tanya, you've popped into my mind right now is what you want to do, and to be that balance, to bring about these changes, like sow that seed, and how you can bring in these new teachings and these new ways of communicating to be a bridge for others. You know, something like that. Like this, this is also Gemini season. So your mind could be like, oh, I like this, and I like this, and I like this, and I like this, and just kind of like flitting back and forth, like Twitter. Twitter is a perfect word for Mercury in Gemini. So if you find yourself or your kids going from one thing to another, totally fine. It's totally the energy of the moment. So honor that. Honor yourself. You know, go explore those interests, that curiosity, and just see where it takes you. Go try new things. And also I'll say too, is you can even do it without finishing what you started. And let that be okay. Let that be okay for even your inner child. It's really funny, my throat got super scratchy right there. This is really about sowing a seed for the future. You might get that sudden download or insight coming in of where the future of humanity is taking us, and how we might even relay that information, Mercury, and communicate it with others, of how we can build this new world and this revolutionary new direction. So I hope that was helpful. It was a lot of information, a lot of astrology and energy that I'm sharing, and I hope that it will help guide you a bit on what's coming and how you can move through that energy a little bit easier, maybe even with a little bit more grace. I mean, not all the time. We're not perfect. I know I'm certainly not. But please share this video if it resonates with you. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel, Chrissy Whistler, and you're going to find more information about astrology. It's where I do my collective intuitive readings and channelings. And you can also check out my website, chrissywhistler.com, if you want to work with me directly. So, I am going to go charge my phone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And I'm actually going to be hopping into my Facebook group, Intuitive Parent Evolution, tomorrow. And there I'm going to be doing a collective card reading for the week. So if you're in that space, I hope to see you there. So thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. And yeah, it was really great sharing this time with you. Thank you so much.